I
Yeah.
just gave a whole dissertation, Dr. Jenna.
No, I think that's great. And I also think, again, like everyone is very different. So the way that you kind of scripted out, like, what's your favorite season, and they followed you, there's many kids that might need one word at a time, like
Yeah,
what is
is
right.
your right.
And you're kind of going through it. And or there's some kids that even saying the full sentence might be harder. And that's why I was saying, starting with what we say, the finish the sentence, where I'm
Yep.
saying, what's your favorite? And do you want to ask me animal or season? And they're repeating season. So there's so many different ways. And that's where choices, kind of going back to that last part, because I know we kind of took a little detour, but the choices piece is
We
so
always take detours when
yeah,
I'm doing this.
I know. But going back to the choices, I think choices are really, really powerful. And especially for those kids that have underlying learning and processing challenges, have some underlying speech and language challenge, might experience,
Autism spectrum.
yeah, exactly. So there's so many different aspects to why it might be harder for an individual to answer open-endedly, especially when, maybe our anxiety is starting to decrease and we're still experiencing some of those challenges. So I think that the choices is a really, really powerful key. And I think that's sometimes where, unfortunately, sometimes teachers, I find, don't always ask those choices. So they're asking questions and they're doing these things, but maybe they're not providing some of those opportunities to say, wait a minute, write it down. Oh, did you write this or that? And kind of giving that visual and the choice all ahead of time.
This has been great. PVC is a way we teach parents. And when you said you come back and let's say we review how things were going and something didn't go as well, we will back up into these checkoffs. Did you prepare? Did you have visuals? Did you have choices? Or was it a loud, large, lots of people environment? Was the child hungry, overwhelmed, underwhelmed? And we start to figure out the look, listen, and learn about this individual. You don't like you have to you have to look and see why something worked well and why something didn't work well, and that's how you really get more continuity in progress, because you start to realize, you know what, my child comes home after school and that's some time for me to take them out and do exposures, but my child's exhausted, she just wants to vegetate. Well,
Right.
guess what, that's not the time to take her out.
Right.
We often think about that. Like, as an adult, you can make a choice of when you're going, where you're going, and making changes to your plans. Wow, I was supposed to go shopping today. I'm exhausted. I'm just going to order Instacart. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But children tend to be dragged along because it's better for our schedule.
Right.
And so it's very important that parents really do look, listen, and learn and see what works for their child and understand that as these exposures are put into place.
Yeah.
So this has been a very powerful podcast, and I think our listeners are going to get a lot of value to this. And any last minute words, Dr. Jenna?
I feel like we went over a lot today, and I think that, again, there's so much power behind PVC and so much of, how it intertwines. I think as we're talking about visuals and choices, that in itself can help with the preparation piece, right? Of kind of creating choices, creating visuals. So I think that I encourage those listeners that maybe, whether this is your first podcast that you're listening to or you've been in treatment with us, I do encourage you to start to implement some of the PVC and start to see, if you start to look, listen, and learn about your child, do you notice any changes in their behavior? Do you notice more readiness and more encouragement, right? Because I think that there's a lot of strong aspects to this intervention. And I think that it goes really, really far. So we're happy that we got to talk about this today. And I'm looking forward to, seeing so many more families utilize PVC.